What's up? It's Andy. It's Friday, and I gotta be honest, we got a boring slate here. Very boring slate at the end of the season here, where I told you should be treading lightly regardless. I know somebody reached out to me yesterday. It's like, Andy, I lost $3,000. Well, why are you betting $3,000 towards the final 2 weeks of the season where ruckus can be found everywhere? I mean, apparently you didn't take the Lightning, who are getting back into playoff mode. As you see, defense collapsing and using their premier talent to score and try to have those leads hold using Vasilevsky. They shut out Carolina. They held Washington to 1. I'm starting to look at them saying, uh-oh. And I know Toronto's probably up there saying, uh-oh. I don't know exactly if this is what we're going to get from the Lightning, once the playoffs actually start. But it seems like they clicked that next level on. I've always said they mail in the majority of the season because they know what's necessary come playoff time. And I'm going to be very interested to see these next couple of games if they're trying to win these games 3-1, 2-1. And also, all the suckers out there, aka people who love overs. A, I don't know what's wrong with you. B, you're starting to see what those clenched ass cheeks look like. You guys remember that? You're going to relearn once again what the clenched ass cheeks theory are. Going back to that Colorado-Minnesota game, 3-2 in the third period and under. The Devils' Rangers, ton of scoring, right? 2-1. When you have a lot of stuff on the line, you always go under. And if it's one of those chances that it happens to go over, you tip your cap. But there's a reason we made stacks of cash on unders during the playoffs. It's because when there's a ton of stuff on the line, teams don't take chances. You just saw the Devils play the most defensive third period you've seen them all season long. You've seen them play all season long. And it's no coincidence. It's because essentially home ice in the first round and second place in the Metro Division was on the line. When you see a ton of stuff on the line and the refs swallow their whistles, meaning they don't call as many penalties as they would have during the middle of the season, which means less power plays, less goals, you take unders. You shouldn't have to ever relearn this. Why? Because you just saw a couple of overs these last few weeks when it was just weird time with Vancouver being out of the playoffs playing these teams. When playoff teams play playoff teams, you get unders, kind of like you saw in Edmonton, 2-0. And I understand I came here and said both teams over 1.5 goals because Edmonton is my outlier. But look what happens when important things are on the line. Second place in the division was on the line, 2-0 under. There it is. It doesn't change, ladies and gentlemen. You shouldn't even have to hear that from me. But you got suckered into taking overs once again throughout, that 4/5 point, like 80% of the way through the season where you tend to see the ruckus games. But you're starting to see playoff hockey on the horizon. You're seeing unders, and you're seeing what you eventually are going to get from these teams. And for that guy who bet $3,000 on a random Thursday with 2 weeks left in the season, you might have a problem. And if you do, call 1-800-GAMBLER. But if you don't have a problem, you should definitely take yourself over to Bet365, where they got a promotion. You bet $1 and you get $200 in free bet credits. You just got to be a new user on the platform, located in a state or province where sports betting is permitted, over 21, and can't have that problem that I was talking about. Call 1-800-GAMBLER if you do. So this is a rusty slate. It's a boring slate, but I'll give you some of the stuff that I like on it. So my favorite pick on the night is probably, and I know this team, we were scared to take them 2 nights ago, but it's all about the ebb and flow and how desperate that team has to be to get points. You have the Winnipeg Jets. I know you guys are scared to take them. I told you not to take them 2 nights ago, but there are times to hold them, times to fold them. We folded them that night, but I'm going to hold them tonight, aka play them. And that's the Winnipeg Jets. They're in desperate need of these points. Like, they legitimately might miss the playoffs. If you look at the first 60% of their season, they were top 3 in the West just comfortably. And now they legitimately might miss the playoffs. When you look at a road game against the Sharks, the Sharks just beat Vegas last night. That's different than coming home against Detroit, who just played last night. They got a win against Carolina, but then they got to travel to Winnipeg. And if Detroit wins, it's going to be against all odds. Like, there's a reason Winnipeg's playing awful, and that line is still set so high. You got Connor Hellebuck. So, that's always something you could at least feel comfortable about. They aren't scoring as much, so I am very tempted here to go Winnipeg Jets and under 7.5. That will bring you close to even. Then if you want to use Bet365 to combine a player prop with a total or a money, you can take the under 7.5 with the Winnipeg Jets to win, and you can add a point. I really like the big three that I call on. Actually, I've never called them that, but when I'm looking at adding a point for someone, it's three key pieces. You're either looking at Morrissey, Kyle Connor, and Mark Scheifele. I like all three of them, and if you want a little extra stamp of approval, the OddsShopper bunker dwellers in Area 51 who assign percentages, they think Mark Scheifele tonight is a great chance that he registers a point. I checked OddsShopper's best plays, and they have Scheifele at over half of a point on one of them. So if you want to take over half of a point for Scheifele with the Winnipeg Jets to win and under 7.5, that has to get you some decent plus money. Also, if you don't want to take Scheifele, or you want to add another one, this is an Andy sniff. It ain't on OddsShopper, it ain't anywhere. Under half of a point for Andrew Kopp. I know he's playing his old team, but he's on the second line, second power play unit. Detroit is not a team who moves the needle offensively, and it's not like the Jets aren't playing good defense. They are playing good defense. It's the scoring that's the issue. So how about that? A big super parlay. Jets under 7.5, over half of a point for Mark Scheifele, under half of a point for the former Jet Andrew Kopp. And that's what I got for you on that game. And moving over, Buffalo Rangers. This can be ruckus. We're going to get Halak. Buffalo should probably score a couple goals. They've been accumulating points. Rangers had to play last night. Didn't score a lot. Makes me kind of think they're going to be able to put a couple on the board tonight. If I'm going to take somebody to register a point, I'm going to go with Patrick Kane, the Buffalo native. He wiggled a point the last time that they were in there on a kind of a lucky bounce. But I'm going to look for him to bounce back. And then the OddsShopper bunker dwellers, they like the over 2.5 shots for Patrick Kane. They're thinking there's a good return on investment on that bet. And if you want to know all those things, go over to get the OddsShopper premium package. They have all the return on investments, what the winning percentage is. They got the Area 51 bunker analytics. So if you want to use that to guide your bets, go over to OddsShopper and make sure you sign up for OddsShopper Premium. And then finally going on to this Dallas-Arizona game. Do you know if you've taken the Arizona Coyotes at plus 1.5 for like 11 straight games, 12 straight games, they've covered 11 of 12, I believe, or 10 of 11, something in that ballpark. They are a tough out, especially on home ice. Even when they were trailing 2-0 to the Avalanche, they came back. Avalanche took another lead. They came back again. Against the Oilers, they pushed it to overtime. These guys are a tough out. And I really don't see any reason for this not to continue. We saw the Stars kind of mail in a performance against Vancouver. Yeah, then they came back and beat Chicago. But the way Arizona's playing, I wouldn't be surprised if this one stays within 1.5 again. And if you don't want to take 1.5, I've been doing anything I can to get them at plus 2.5. So here are two different options for you. Take the Arizona Coyotes at plus 2.5, combine that with the Winnipeg Jets to win. That will put you at plus money, or close to it. Or take both teams over 1.5 goals, because if you look at these Coyotes, they seem to always at least get 2. And Dallas, you'd imagine, would be able to, even if they lose, put 2 on the board, because it's not like this is a game between two playoff teams. That's where I need to stay away from taking those like over 1.5s the rest of the way here. But if you take both teams over 1.5, Arizona plus 2.5, I mean, to lose by 3 at home when they've been playing so well, I don't think that's very likely. So give me any sort of variation with the Coyotes at plus 2.5. Then going back to the OddsShopper bunkers, they like the over 2.5 shots for Clayton Keller. It makes sense, right? He's been as hot as they come. And against a goalie like Ottinger, they're going to need to get pucks to the net. They're going to need to kind of shoot it as much as they can to try to score. I mean, I know that's a simplistic mindset, but when you have a guy who is playing very well and tallying points in nearly every game, you got to think he's pretty prone to shoot. He's got the hot stick. So I actually agree with that OddsShopper bunker assessment once again. I will take the over 2.5 shots for Clayton Keller. And those are the picks that I got for you here on this Friday. Rusty slate, if you ask me, but we kind of went into the weeds and pulled out a couple things that we like. All right, good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure you subscribe to the OddsShopper channel here. Come follow me on Instagram. It's at Andy Francis on all social media platforms, actually. And I will be back with you on Monday. Have a great weekend. I will see you then.